Hello, everyone, and welcome to this installment of The Wayward Dragons. This is our review episode where we talk about things we've read, things we've watched, things we've played, uh, all that fun stuff, food we've tried, just whatever we want to share. We just kind of shoot the shit. This is our every other week episode. Uh, that way we can kind of maintain our subject matter on our regular episodes. I am Johnny. I am joined by my co-host, Kelsey.
Yes. Hello. Yeah, welcome to this review episode where we talk about all the fun things. So,
And some not fun things.
yeah, we've had some bad reviews. We're both having a rough couple weeks. But I'm going to kind of change this question. What is one fun thing or one positive or big or because we both have had rough weeks. Positive thing that happened to you in between episodes? Because we both had some weeks.
I took a mental health day, so that's a positive thing because I did something for me.
Yeah.
Because my brain needed it, and I spent the entire day cleaning, which is very cathartic to some people, including myself.
Okay.
And it's something that definitely needed to be done. I am a person who likes to keep things, I'm not like super OCD tidy with stuff, but I do like to keep things clean, and things were not as clean as I wanted it to be. But I got done, and it felt good. It was very nice, very positive.
Okay.
What about yourself?
Well, 2. All of my couches finally delivered. So we traded the couches out. Because there's a place near us that was doing a Memorial Day sale. Problem is we got a big L sectional. Problem was they sent us 2 rights instead of a left and a right end. So I finally have a full couch, which is nice. So I've got a recliner, kind of. My husband's got a recliner. But the most positive thing is Fable, my lovely Fable, finally updated the app so that way the Droid users like myself have the same perks as our Apple friends, which means, and you're going to laugh at this. You're going to laugh. So part of the perks, I think so. I think so. So part of it is now you get, I don't even know why I tried showing you something, is you get it doesn't, I've done this for years now, and it does not compute my phone doesn't compute over the computer screen. They've got reading stats now. So Apple users could get all their read stats for a long time, but you get a reader summary, and they kind of diagnose you based off of the books that you read.
Like they tell you what kind of mental illness you have because you read too much, oh, you read a lot of escapist fantasy. You have this problem in your life. Like that kind of diagnose, or just
kind of. So
interesting.
I'm the eclectic enigma.
Oh, so it's like they give you like an archetypal.
Yeah.
Okay.
So your tastes leap from dragon battles to space operas, cozy murder mysteries to cosmic horror with a sprinkle of magic realism. Who needs consistency when you can have it all, right?
Well, so I think I got a similar thing to that when what was it? Goodreads did a year-end wrap-up.
Yeah.
And they did something similar to that, and that's what I got.
Yeah. So, yeah. Oh, I forgot to add that one to my Goodreads. So, yeah. That is my most positive thing that has happened is Fable. Fable finally updated the Android so you can edit your reading dates. And now you can see your reading stats, which is, I was like, I want to know what type of reader I am. So, yeah. Yeah. That's what has happened to me. Minus, yeah, we won't go into the shitty stuff. But yeah. Yeah. So what have you read? What have you read?
So I have been working. Well, let me see if I did anything else other than this, and then I'll get into that.
Okay.
That's the only thing that I've read. So I have been working through the Rising Saga. Right now there are currently 6 books in print. The 7th book has not come out yet, although judging by pre-release ratings from people who they have read the books before they come out, it's like a 4.39 for the next book. But honestly, I about halfway through the first book. Actually, it wasn't even halfway. Like quarter of the way through the first book, I'm like, I don't know if I'm really feeling this. And then stuff started picking up, and I'm like,
Yeah.
this is
Oh.
where this is going. So, first 3 books, absolutely fucking rad, and these are by Pierce Brown. So it's Red Rising, Golden Sun, and Morning Star. Those
Okay.
books, absolutely loved. They could
Okay.
have ended it there,
Okay.
but they're continuing on further with the story. The
Okay.
4th book, I have mixed feelings on. I am just probably not even a quarter way through the 5th book yet. And so the premise is this takes place in our future.
Okay.
You got your other co-host there?
I do. He is my amoeba.
He's something.
Where I go, he goes.
He's a parasite. No, so it takes place in our future where basically humans have completely screwed planet Earth and have kind of moved off to live on other planets.
Okay.
So we've colonized other planets. Well, when they did this, for different reasons, they genetically altered people in different ways, which created a color coding system for people.
Okay.
Well, as with everything, when you have a hierarchy, there is
Yeah.
discrimination.
Yes.
So our main character, at least he's the main character from the first several books, uh, grew up in a so Darrow grew up in a mining colony, like in a cave, where they were told their entire lives, and they're Reds, so Reds are the lowest
Okay.
people. They were told their entire life that um, they, and spoilers here, of course, but that they are working on doing things to create an atmosphere for terraforming Mars. They have been told this for generations. This is
Okay.
the only thing they know.
Okay.
Darrow is 17. He is recently married.
Okay.
After this big feast thing that they got, that he should have won an award, and they gave it to a different group of people. And he was upset. His wife took him off, and like they were doing like little cutesy romantic things, and uh, they found a vent hole. They start looking through the vent hole, and the vent hole actually leads to a habitable zone up on the surface where people have been living for generations. So they're like, wow, this is crazy. I guess it's almost done. Let's sneak out. And a couple of golds, and the golds are the highest of these people, find them, and they were just going to do they were just going to lash them as a punishment for being where they weren't supposed to be.
Okay.
And so Darrow got his lashes. When his wife went to get her lashes, she started singing a song, that song that is forbidden for them to sing. They told her to stop. She refused to stop, so they hung her.
Okay.
He obviously is upset by this.
Oh yeah.
Before they take her to the gallows, she whispers something to his mother, which you find later on in the series, that she tells her that, she tells Darrow's mother to go home and hide the crib because she had been building a crib because she's pregnant with their child. So because of, she realized when they snuck out through this vent that, hey, we're being oppressed, and she knew felt like they were being oppressed before, but we're being oppressed. There's this whole other world. We are being be your slaves.
Yeah.
I don't want my child to live in a world where there's a slave.
Yeah.
She feels that Darrow would be the person to be able to change this.
And she'd have to die for that to happen.
And she would have to die for that to happen. So her words before going to the gallows is she tells everyone to throw off their chains and rise up against the oppression. And this is recorded and sent out everywhere, like her execution, saying, "Hey, this is why you don't do what you're not supposed to do. Fuck around and find out." So they tried to use her as proof of this is why you don't do stuff we tell you not to do.
Yeah.
But instead, it kind of sparked some ideologies. There were ideologies before that. So this is on Mars.
Okay.
As we all know, Mars is the Roman god of war.
Yes.
There is a group that comes up that refer to themselves as the Sons of Ares. Ares is the Greek precursor to Mars.
Yeah.
And they refer to themselves as this because they are a freedom fighter group, and a lot of the stuff in the culture is based off of and inspired by Roman ideology.
Okay.
They see the Roman ideology as, hey, this was what the Greeks believed, but then they corrupted it, so they want to get back to that ideology. Well, our boy Darrow, in his distraught, attempts to kill himself.
Okay.
Does not die, because typically when they hang someone on Mars because of lower gravity, you have to have someone hold your feet and pull on your feet because it's harder for you to fall and death takes longer. So he didn't have anyone to hold his feet. Well, his uncle, who is a member of this group, cuts him down and buries his body. And he gets dug back up by members of this group where they tell him, hey, we want you to be our emissary on this. We're going to do something to you if you agree, and we're going to change the way everyone lives. So they do what they call cutting on him. Basically, they modify his body.
Okay.
They turn him into a gold, and then they enroll him into this university thing that all the golds have to go through.
Oh.
And they do these war game things, and he dominates.
It's giving
He
Hunger Game vibes.
he dominates. When they get through, some of the stuff is just really fucked up, and there's strong abuse warning on this book, strong essay warning. Well, not should I say mediocre essay warning. There's some reference to essay in it.
Okay. It's okay.
But actually looking up all the colors right now. But anyway, so he succeeds. He is taken on because of his actions by the ruling house of Mars as their sword, basically, to be trained into. And there's some romance with the daughter of the leader of the house. Again, major spoiler here with the House of Mars. So he ends up with her for a while. And then also ends up being forced to kill one of his really good friends, who's a brother of another really good friend, while he's in the thing. There's a lot of crazy shit that happens during the school thing. But so they end up in a situation where he goes to the dinner. Basically, he knows that the house of the ruling party of Mars and this other house are at feuding constantly.
Mm-hmm.
And the ruling house of Mars was basically, the guy was just like, you know what, you cost me too much money. Your people are coming after you to kill you because of stuff that happened in the university. I'm gonna cut ties with you. It's costing me too much money. So at this big event with the basically queen of the entire all the planets, he forces a duel, which starts a civil war, which ends up leading to the revolution, which forces the golds, and they're still fighting at this point in the books, but there's still some golds that are like, nah, we ain't doing that. But they're fighting for equality for all the different uh, colors.
Okay.
The different colors have different things that they're good at and stuff.
Okay.
I am trying to Google something right now. So you have, because I don't remember what the exact hierarchy is here. Yeah, so on the bottom you have the reds. Then above them you have the browns, the blacks, and the pinks. The pinks are sex slaves. The blacks are like mercenary slaves, and I forget what the browns specifically are. Above them, you have the grays, which are like basic soldiers. Above them, you have the orange, purples, greens, yellows, and blues. Um, each one is either like some sort of technology or medical. And then above them, you have the silvers, the bronzes, and the whites, uh, which are like the second tier down from the top. And then on the very top, you have the golds.
Okay. That's a very complicated system.
Yeah, well, it's a really like I can
Oh,
send you this really cool picture that I actually found of it. But so like the books are really well written. My problem is that after the first three books, it's almost like the author was like, "Hey, we want to take it and we want to see how like we want to continue this story with stuff that
okay.
happens after." Which I mean, people are going to ask questions,
Yeah.
so that makes sense. And you can't
Yeah.
fix. One of the things I love about this series is there's no way to just like fix war. Like, if you have
Yeah.
a revolution, that's great. You have things you fought for, you have things you're trying to achieve. However, things aren't just going to magically be better. And that's what they
Yeah.
talk about is you're still going to have to deal with people. Um,
Yeah.
and they talk about it and they address that. So the book series, honestly, it's the first three are top notch. I think it's just like I'm wanting to keep it going here. There is a comparison. So, kind of the comparison for the first book is a combination of uh, Shades of Grey, not 50 Shades of Grey, different book. The
Yeah.
Hunger Games, uh, Lord of the Flies, City of Smiles, Ender's Game, and Alexander Dumas's. I can't read what the name of that book is. But anyway, so it's like a combination of
Of
different,
stuff.
yeah, different like the way that, but the way it's written, it's very well written. Uh,
Yeah.
highly recommend. That's the only thing I've really been reading. Uh, I did start a new show that is absolutely amazing that I've seen like people talk about and stuff. Uh, and so I finally decided to check it out, and it is hilarious. It's an anime on Netflix. It's called Delicious in the Dungeon, and it is about this adventuring party. It's a dungeon crawler. It's about this adventuring party who is, one of the members. They one of the members of one of the characters' previous party is slowly being digested at the end of this dungeon. And so they're taking it and they have to go through the dungeon to rescue her because it's like his sister. And so he's like, we're not leaving the dungeon until we get to the end. We're not going to stop. We're going to keep going. We're going to eat whatever we find in the dungeon. I have this book that's going to teach us how to cook all the monsters. And so they meet this other guy, and he's just like, "Oh, you like eating monsters? I'm glad to find someone else who does this. I've been doing this for years. Let me travel along with you and teach you how to do it." So it's fun, it's goofy, it's silly.
Okay.
Uh, if you enjoy silly, not overly serious anime, it's enjoyable. But that's really all I've got. And holy shit, I did not realize I had been talking like 22 minutes into this. Uh,
No,
yeah,
you're fine.
it's
It's okay.
I've really like this book series has a lot to it, and it's like dystopian. It's very different. But yeah, what about you? What have you been reading and such?
Well, did you see that the god Peter Jackson is making another Lord of the Rings movie? Did you see that?
I did. I'm not sure what books he's doing though.
It is not a book. It is the origin of Gollum. It's a Gollum movie.
Oh,
So, yeah. I don't know what all it's going to entail because of like the rights and stuff. Um but yeah,
it's just gonna be him eating fish for like 3 hours.
I would kind of pay to watch that sometimes. Um, but yeah, no, Andy Serkis posted on Instagram of about how they what did he write it? Hunt for Gollum is what's going to come out, which I
Huh.
think is really cool. But we got some disappointments. We got a disappointment in kind of what the fuck and a good one. So I finished Dawn by Octavia Butler. That is the first book in a four-part trilogy. So I talked about this in the last episode. So we as humans have wiped out Earth. We've caused a nuclear war, and we are no more. And um, the last remaining humans have been picked up by these weird sea slug aliens, right? And they have chosen Miss Lilith to lead the humans into building a new Earth because they have made a new Earth. It's taken 300 years, but we have made a new Earth. It's very good. The first one's very good. I will probably keep reading. The ending was a little bit of a letdown. like because she trains these humans, so she trains with the Olokai, becoming one of them, knowing their ways and stuff, and then they were like, okay, you get to pick 40 people, you get to wake them up, and then you have to train them on how to caveman it out in Earth. Fractions that normal fractions happen, type thing happened. I'm very curious of where this goes because the ending was so anticlimactic. Like it was just like,
Mhm.
oh, well, I kind of saw that coming. That she never gets spoiler. She never gets to leave the spaceship. She figures out she never gets to leave the spaceship. So she's
Okay.
done all this work thinking that, she gets to leave, and she wakes up one day and all these people are gone and they tell her you never get to leave. So, yeah. So it was good because she really struggles with surviving and being with aliens and the normal dynamics that come with that many people, because you're gonna have douchebags and you're gonna have people that think this is such a great idea and whatever, or think that they're better than themselves. So it was good. I'm very interested to see where the trilogy goes. I'm very interested to see where this goes. um I finished To Shape a Dragon's Breath, which is another one I talked about. Had very major racist undertones, and homophobic. A lot of homophobic no come like I it starts coming out like the last third of the book. But like she that one's another one where I'm very curious of where the series is going because it kind of beautifully ties up at the end, but the author hints that there's more because on Goodreads it's already put in as a series. So I'm very curious on how this goes. Is it kind of beautifully ties up? So I'm guessing kind of maybe like a revolution. We're kind of setting the gear work up for maybe a dragon kind of revolution that's kind of happening.
Okay.
Is kind of what it feels like the groundwork's been laid because you've got the racist undertones where, on her island, all this stuff that they say is bad is normal. You want to take more than one wife? Go for it. You want to only like girls or dudes? Go for it. They don't care. And then she goes to dragon school and she just doesn't understand how all this stuff is weird. And it's very much Norse. first Native American. Like, she gets accused, she figures out some things and gets accused of cheating and stuff on her exams when she figures out that what they are trying to teach her she already knows, but it's different in her culture. So it's it, it was it is a little bit LGBT, and I mean we're like dipping our big toe in the pool. Not a whole lot happens. I thought that there would be a little bit more romance because it's a dark academia kind of vibe. So I was all of the kind of reviews online kind of hinted that there would be a little bit more because it part of the review says that there's poly. I wouldn't say there's any polyamory. I'm just it kind of makes it sound like she's stuck between not necessarily stuck between two people because in her culture she can have both, but she doesn't want to pursue either one because it's
Gotcha.
so I'm like I wouldn't call that poly, I guess, to me.
Well,
I can see where it's the stepping stones, but I really thought with all the reviews and stuff, like, oh my god, I love the poly part. I'm like, but like that's it. We're dipping our toe in the water. Okay, all right, whatever. Okay, cool. So if this is a series, I probably
sometimes it do be like that.
yeah, I'm thinking because it kind of reads like young adult that we're not going fully into the pool, which is fine, whatever. But yeah, the last one I read, which is what I was excited about in our last episode, was Ask for Andrea by Noelle Hili. I think is how their last
Healy?
Healy. Yeah. So
I don't know. I'm just guessing.
I have no idea. I don't know how to pronounce this chick's last name. This is one of the best books I've read so far this year. You know me, I read a lot of thriller. Between thriller and fantasy, those are my go-tos. And I read a lot of murder mysteries. And I love my serial killers and I love my true crime. I waited for this book for 4 to 5 months from my local library because it's that big. My library almost has 100 copies and I was on a wait list for 4 months.
And what is this called?
Ask for Andrea. So, we kind of grew up in the how do I want to word this? The
Verbally.
no.
You want to word it verbally?
I don't want to. I can't send it telepathically. With the growing knowledge that
That is an
women,
interesting last name.
yeah, with the growing knowledge that women get drugged in books, and a lot of people, our generation, came up with the nail polish that you put on your fingers and you kind of swirl your finger in your drink, or the notes in the bathroom that say if you go and ask for a person or a shot that they know that you want out of your situation because it's uncomfortable or something has happened, right?
Yep.
So that's the premise, kind of the premise of the book. So it's told through the eyes of these 3 dead girls. And normally, when you read thriller, true crime, mystery genre, it is normally either told from the cop trying to figure it out, somebody's trying to figure it out, or through the last remaining victim that's alive and they're trying to escape or something. It's one or the other. Someone's trying to figure him out or the last remaining victim. This is the first time I've read where it's from the ghost's point of view. All 3 of them. And they're in different it's kind of starts out in 3 different timelines. In like how they meet the guy, how they die, and then them kind of figuring out the afterlife. But they all 3 kind of team up to try to stop the serial killer and try to get people to figure out that he's the one. So they talk about
Gotcha.
being frustrated that they're right there and they're like screaming the answers in their face, like in the cop's face, and like one cop's not listening, but then this other female cop's like, he's the man. But the whole like there's different parts, and this is what like saves the serial killer's wife is they also try to save his wife, like because at a point he figures out that he's been made and he's going to kill his wife and child. And one of the girls remembers when she goes into the bathroom before she leaves with him because they're on a date and he's a great guy and he would never do anything to me. Is on the bathroom, there's a thing that says, having a bad date? Ask for Andrea at the bar and we'll help you. And spoiler, that's what saves his wife.
Huh.
Her and her daughters are like roughing it in the woods, get to this bar. He's at this bar. They go lock themselves in the bathroom, and a girl like knocks on the door, is like, "Ma'am, are you okay?" And she goes, "I need Andrea. Can you ask the bartender? Can you tell the bartender I need Andrea?" And they call the cops, and he gets arrested. So I thought that was a really clever kind of code.
Yeah.
It's something that I remember in like college and seeing all that stuff of like people on, the few times that we would go out, seeing it or hearing about it and stuff of like, well, that's ingenious, but also like the despair that these ghosts felt of like just wanting to be seen and heard, but also they want to go be with their family that's on the other side of like they really want to figure this out, but they really feel bad of like leaving their mom and stuff, but like there's other people waiting for them and they'll be there when they get there, but they at least want this to get solved because he can't hurt any more women and stuff. So like them trying to like try to figure out how to like can you stop licking my arm, please? Thank you. He's like licking like the back part of like my tricep.
Just so everyone knows, that was Kelsey's cat, not her husband.
No. Yeah, no, I have my fat little amoeba up here. But like they try to like can you Lord? But they try to like mess with the car because they, while he's running and stuff, so they're trying to like blow up the engine and all they can do is like pop his headlights. They try to prevent him from online dating, so they keep shutting his computer down so he can't. But they find out that they can only do this so much, that they can't do this for forever, that it makes them feel like they're wasting away and stuff. Honestly, this was cool. I loved the different point of view because it's normally someone's trying to figure it out that's alive. You never get to read from the dead person's point of view.
Yeah.
And I liked the code, so I thought that was very clever of the author. That was really clever because I like got to the end and I was like, well,
that's a cool little twist.
Like that's genius. Like, okay, I see you.
Have you been watching anything?
No, Ghost Adventures just came out with a new episode, so that's all I got.
Gotcha.
No, it's kind of the point in my year where I'm working all the time. I'm working a lot of late nights, so because I work a lot of 2 to 10s, 4 to 10s, because somebody has to watch the children at my work.
Yeah.
So yeah, no, I'm still cranking through Crimes of the Century podcast. I haven't really been. No, because like when I get home after I've had a day at work, I want something mindless that I can just kind of like blank stare and watch and not have to think about what's going on.
That is 100% fair.
Like that's kind of where I'm at right now. I did start. I'm very interested to see where this goes. It's called the Pallbearers Club. This kid at school, he's really geeky, but he's about to graduate and his teacher, his guidance counselor, is like, hey, you need like extracurriculars so it looks better on your college application. And he decides, because he saw it on Nickelodeon News, Nick at Night. That shows our age, if you can remember that.
Yep.
Sees where this kid in San Francisco created this pallbearers club where they volunteer to be pallbearers at people's funerals who don't have family or whatever. Well, the book is like memoir kind of style, but the book follows him and then one of his club mates that's like really weird, and like weird shit starts going on with this person. And it's funny because it's edited by the weird club mate.
Okay. So he's like talking shit, and he's just like, "Yep, nope, I did that. That was weird."
like it's all marked in the margin.
Oh, it's like he's annotated it.
Yes, like it's all like crossed out, like, well, I never said that. And then like at the end of every chapter, I'm not very far into this, where like at the end of every chapter it was like, well, that it kind of gives us like thoughts about the chapter. Well, I never said that, and I never did this, and I never did that. So you have to really pick and choose like what you believe. But I think it's absolutely hilarious that it's a memoir, and the weird creepy friend has gotten a hold of the memoir, and it's just like
Yeah.
all crossed out and underlined, and there's like writing in red on the margins and stuff, like margins. I always want to say margarine, like margarine butter, like the food. It never goes well. But yeah, that's the one I'm currently reading. I'm very curious to see how this goes. I just started because I had jury duty. And so I just sat there and read, waited to be picked. Never got picked. Woo. The one
Yeah,
time
I'm sure you rate jury duty like super high, right? That was an experience.
it's a very interesting experience. I'm glad I got to see how the court system works in the state in which I live in. However, I really don't want to do that anytime soon. Or if it could happen while my job is closed, that would be fine. Sure, fine. I'll sit there.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was not the best experience, but I got to read uninterrupted for a very long time. Actually, physically read because you can't leave the room. So
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's all I got. That's all. Yeah.
Well, I think that brings us to a close on this review episode. So, guys, thank you for listening.
Yes.
Don't forget to rate, review, subscribe, tell a friend, phone a friend, whatever you gotta do. I don't know, man.
Yeah.
We're recording this way later than we usually do.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
yeah, so do all of the things.
Yeah.
Share, word of mouth, and all that jazz.
Yeah. And also join me on Fable. I do a little bit more. I mean, I talk about books, and we can maybe possibly start a book club eventually. Who knows?
Yeah.